Fighter in DC20 has been reworked. It is the class that has seen the most amount of revisions because we are trying to find the best area for the fighter, not to be something just bland and boring and play a fighter if you want to be it's just a fighter, no worries. The first version of the fighter that was shown publicly was pretty much a D&D copy paste. Dungeons and Dragons, you just had the fighting style, action surge, all that stuff. So, and as in general, if you've been here for a while and seen DC20's progression, pretty much every class started off as somewhat of a copy paste in the DC20 version of each class in that way. And then we've had push the limits, push the class fantasy, and now every single class has its own unique fantasy, own unique mechanics. Really has a ton of flavor there. If you haven't seen it, I do have a video kind of showcasing that that you can check out as well. It shows all 13 classes. But for the fighter specifically, it was very similar to the feel of the fighter from what you know from Dungeons and Dragons. And then we went crazy in the most recent edition, which was what the launched with 0.8, was the new fighter rework, and there were some things that were a little bit a swing and a miss, honestly. I had a vision for the fighter that I thought would be really cool, and I went too far down the rabbit hole in a similar way where sorcerers, I love wild magic, and the initial version of sorcerers had wild magic in every single sorcerer. Too much. So now sorcerers, it's an option that you could choose, and we're not here to talk about sorcerers though. We're here to fight, baby. So the fighter and how it's evolved from this second iteration that was to now showcase the brand new iteration of what we have found. Hold up, check this out. Here we go. DC20.com just dropped some new merch. You can see the core rules here, of course. You got all the stuff here. You got the free downloads. If y'all didn't know about this, there's the core rules, earlier version of the core rules. The sample playtest version is available for free. An entire one-shot, the character sheets, all that kind of stuff. Boom, it's right there. And then one notch down is DC20 merch. Order today, let's go. So there's two different kinds of merch. Yes, I know it says digital library. Okay, yeah, we're working on stuff here, people. But we got two different shirts here. I'm gonna go with the pocket logo right here. And yeah, we got a white one, a black one, a purple one, of course a purple one, and a gray one. But purple one, we got a bunch of different sizes. This is a pre-order. This is the first time I'm announcing it, like technically in a video. This is only going on, you can see it right here, September 30th is the last day that the pre-orders close. And then I'm going to see how many shirts that people got, because I've never made merch like this before, like high quality, nice merch. This is not some sort of like print on demand where they order a shirt and they slap a sticker thing on it and then send it off. No. I have to order like hundreds possibly of these shirts. They make them, it's a whole thing now to be able to have higher quality shirts and do some really nice stuff for y'all. So everything's all here. The link's going to be down in the description, all that kind of stuff. But you can pick all the different things and all the sizes and whatnot, add it to your cart. They are pre-orders, so they don't get shipped out yet. And then if you are watching this at some point in time in the future and you see this, the link is still going to be active and you still can purchase things, but it will just eventually ship out. And then once we get caught up and we've ordered all the shirts based on the pre-orders, and we have a huge backlog or whatever these shirts, we'll start shipping them out and all that good stuff. So gonna be super awesome. I'm gonna get a bunch of these, and this also throws in the stuff that I can throw into giveaways for these the live stream giveaways that we do here too. So boom bang, there you go. Get ya. And before I forget, the price of the pre-orders is $25, and after the pre-orders are done, the price might bump up just a little bit, who knows, but I want to see how many shirts these get, because the more shirts that I can buy, the cheaper I can have the price be, and if a whole bunch of people buy shirts, then I can actually keep the prices as low as possible, because I can order a bunch of shirts in bulk stuff. So cool. So I am going to show the old fighter for a second. I'm not going to go through and actually like break down each of these points. This is the fighter. This is also what you can kind of see and check out. And I'm just going to have it here up on the screen. So fighter stamina has not changed. Fighter stamina is the same. You regain one stamina when you perform a maneuver as part of an action, provided you didn't spend stamina to gain stamina. That whole thing, that would be busted. So nope. But that's it. Fighters, maneuvers, swinging around and hitting people with maneuvers. Love it. That is unchanged. That's very on point for fighter. That's the same. So this, whenever I show you the next version over here, that won't change. Technique Master is also a great thing for the fighter. You learn another technique of your choice, and once per combat, you can perform a technique at a reduced stamina cost. So that means not only do fighters get access to techniques at level 1, which no other class does, they also are a technique master and can perform technically one technique level higher. They can push their techniques a little farther or use them for free once per combat. Super cool. This was the swing and a miss though. Adaptive Arsenal. Adaptive Arsenal. I really went for it on this one, and I hope that people that, in this community can see that I am trying to swing for the fences and stuff and push the boundaries of what's possible to find what's awesome. And that's part of the journey of growing at a game and finding a perfect place for a class. And trust me, I want to see what you think of the. Okay, cool. But where this fell apart is the class fantasy of a fighter. What this was trying to do is have a weapon master, a switching weapons, and you can just imagine, like, you know, the meme of having like 15 weapons all over you, and you can just unsheath 2 swords, swing them, you pull out a 2-hander, and then you put it back and pull out a shield. You know, if there was a class that would be able to do that well, it should be the fighter, yes. But is that a core, like one of the top main core class fantasies of a fighter? I'd say no. A subclass, maybe. So maybe you'll see Adaptive Arsenal in a subclass here in the near future. But for the core fighter, I do not think a quick swap weapon MacGyver is going to be a fantasy, right? So instead, this also the one other thing that it didn't land with this is if you want to play a tank fighter, then this feature is kind of useless because you're just going to want to wear a shield all the time anyway. Why you only gain benefits if you're swapping around all the time, right? And then I'm going to talk about Action Surge. Is once in each turn you spend stamina to gain. This is essentially another lingering copy paste from Dungeons and Dragons that I wanted to shake and move away from. I don't want to make any feature in DC20 because something similar or adjacent was in D&D and have like some sort of DC20 version of D&D. I think the game is, we're better than that. And I'm not trying to say we're better than D&D. I'm saying we're better than just copy pasting anything, right? Truly reevaluating if something should be there and if it's truly fun. And I think Action Surge missed the mark. And I don't think Action Surge should stay. So another little final thing here to also say about this stuff is if you didn't catch this from another announcement I've made, every single class, this is what that you see in the current version of the rules is at level 2. There's 2 different abilities right here, 2 different class features and a talent. That means 3 different features you get at level 2. That's a huge power bump. That was never the intention. This was purely just for playtesting purposes to get people to be able to play with these different abilities and get feedback on all these different abilities. So I tricked y'all basically, I guess, because at level 2 now in 0.9, you will only have, at level 2, all classes will only have 1 class feature and 1 talent. That's it. That's what it ultimately was always kind of intended to be. So a lot of these other things, a lot of these other features and stuff will be turned into class talents. Like, no, there aren't any class talents in the game. And technically in 0.9, there will be. Cool, right? So anyway, there is the old fighter. But now let's talk about the new fighter. And before we talk about the new fighter, the thing of where I want this fighter to go, I always see a fighter, the class fantasy for a fighter is a gritty, get knocked down, stand back up, I could do this all day, Captain America type feel, right? Where you are ready to fight. You can push yourself forward, you're resilient, right? You can keep going, right? There's that. That's one aspect of a fighter. Also, weapons. You are a master of weapons. You're able to, now, maybe not quick swapping all over the place, but you're really good at weapons and you're good at using weapons in really cool ways, aka maneuvers. And the system in DC20 that already is there for fighters is maneuvers. Maneuvers are great in DC20. It's one of the key shining parts of all martial characters. So why on earth did we not let the fighters embrace maneuvers and truly be a maneuver master, not just a weapons master, but a maneuver master. And now we can fully be able to support all types of fighters and have some flavor and abilities that isn't just like, oh, they're just a martial character that can do martial stuff really good. No. There's some special, unique things here. So here we go, the 0.9 DC20 fighter. Let's showcase it right now. Here we go. The top I'm starting off with. Fighter stamina is the same as it was. No worries there. We're just moving on. Master at Arms. Your training in warfare has granted you the following benefits. Weapon Master. At the start of each of your turns, you can freely swap weapons you're currently wielding in each hand. That's the same from before. That's part of the adaptive arsenal that was from before. I do like that for fighters. They're able to switch better. Cool. Simple. Not strong. Simple. Maneuver Master. You learn 2 more maneuvers of your choice. So now fighters know more maneuvers than any other class. Before they knew the same. That always felt off to me a little bit. Now fighters learn 2 maneuvers of their choice. They learn the most. Technique Master is the same as Technique Master from before, and you get the same thing. So this is technically, see what I did there? Technique Master plus 2 maneuvers and a little flavor bit of feature. So now this is ultimately much more in line and much more balanced power-wise. This was a little bit under-tuned because technically you had an ability once per combat that you could use a technique on, and at level 1 it's really cool, but then it kind of, it's powerful but not crazy. This brings it in line for it's a nice solid feature. And then we have Fighting Spirit. Oh, Fighting Spirit. You might see some, I'll just let you see it. So stand ready for combat at any moment, granting the following benefits. Combat readiness. There's 2 benefits here. Combat readiness and second wind. Yes, second wind kind of moved from level 2 to level 1. You'll see. At the start of your first turn in combat, I'm going to say that again. At the start of your first turn in combat, you gain one of the following benefits that you choose. Brace. The defensive option. You gain the benefits of the dodge action and advantage on the next save you make. You're ready to fight defensively, right? And then you have advance. You gain the benefits of the move action and advantage on the next physical check you make. Physical checks include, athletics checks, martial checks, swinging with a sword, attack checks, right? So you're ready for battle, right? In an offensive or a defensive way. I absolutely love this for what a fighter is. They are ready to fight and they are ready to defend, or they're ready to attack and move in there, baby. Let's go, right? And then it gets better. Second wind, once per combat at the start, when you start your turn bloodied, right? So, you're fighting, you're getting hit and stuff like that, stuff's happening, and the turn comes around. And when there's a turn that comes around and you start your turn, keep this in mind. A lot of these things are when you start your turn, because that's one of the mechanics of when you play a fighter that I want you to feel. I want it to feel good gameplay wise. It's all revolves around like when you start your turn, crack them knuckles, you're ready to go. So when you start your turn on the first round of combat is combat readiness. But if you get bloodied, below half health. If you start your turn while bloodied, you regain 2 hit points and 1 stamina. Let's go, right? Now, it says you can, and you get to do this once per combat. So let's say your maximum stamina or somebody healed you or whatever, and you don't want to do that, or you want to wait for a little bit for some other reason. You don't have to do it. But when you get low enough and it's time and you really want to, crack your knuckles, shake it off, and breathe deep for that second wind, boom, there you go. Once per combat, you can use it if you start your turn bloody. Know your enemy's the same. And here we get to level 2. Level 2 is adaptive tactics. When you roll for initiative, and at the end of each of your turns, you gain a D8 tactical dice. This should feel familiar and similar to the concept of superiority dice from what you have. You have these little pool of dice or whatever you have. In this case, it's not a pool of dice. It is 1 dice. It's much more simple. You'll see what I'm talking about. You gain a D8 tactical dice if you don't already have one. Meaning, if you already have one, you don't get another one. So it's basically you get 1 D8 per round, essentially. You can spend a tactical dice to gain one of the following tactics. Assault or deflect. Offense, defense. There's a theme here. When you make a martial attack, you can add it to the attack's result. And if you've also been here for a while in DC20, this is essentially the sword maneuver, where you can add a D8 to your attack. Nothing too crazy and busted and broken, but something only a fighter can do, right? And then there's also deflect, if the defensive version. When you're attacked, you can add the die to your PD for that attack, right? So you can basically roll a D8 and add it to your attack, or roll a D8 and add it to your defense. 1 attack, 1 defense, you get the idea. And that is the fighter. And I am so excited to see what you guys think about it. Leave comments and all that kind of stuff. The 0.9 fighter, this will go out in the 0.9. 0.9 also is a ton of subclasses, which is essentially 26 subclasses, 2 for each of the 13 classes in the game. And yes, there are going to be 3 subclasses for every class, but I am only releasing 2 subclasses for 0.9, and then the rest will come in a future update as well. So 0.9 is going to be huge, and this is just the tip of the iceberg of what is to come. So stay creative, think outside the box. Peace.